Good Friday morning. It's 18 and a half minutes after the hour. My name is Bill, and in the studio with me this morning are my boys.
Hey.
Pastor Ryan
Yes,
and John
Good
are
morning.
in the studio with me. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Great.
Good. Glad to be here. Happy 2022. This is our first
Yes.
show of the year, isn't it?
Yes,
It is.
Wow.
Yeah,
How
it's the
exciting.
7th of January.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And I know what time of the year it is because when I'm driving here, there's still stars out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just-
that's it.
Yeah. In the summertime, it's like getting light and the sun's coming up. And
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we're here.
Yeah.
Praise you, Jesus. We made it.
Speaking of stars, did you guys see any of the meteorites that have been
No.
falling the last few weeks?
No,
No.
I've been reading about the meteorite showers, but yeah, haven't, or meteor showers they're called.
Yeah, meteor
they're
shower,
meteor if
yeah,
they're in
yeah.
the sky. They're a meteorite if they land on the ground.
Yeah.
Have you seen any or?
Oh, yeah, I see them all the
Really?
time. But,
Really?
Okay.
But it's always dark when I leave for work, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
even in the summertime, it's mostly dark.
I've been watching
Yeah.
the skies, but you guys know there's only one meteor shower that I'm really interested in.
Yes.
Yes.
And that is, do you remember the name?
Wormwood.
Well, I think that might be included in those one day. Yeah, the Taurids.
Yeah,
The
Taurids.
Taurids, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that is in the fall.
But Wormwood might be one of the
yeah.
Taurids. Yeah, that's the operating theory that I'm developing. Yes.
Yeah.
And there is, I saw something on NASA website the other day that we're expecting an asteroid to, come by us in our, little corner of the universe. That is like 2 or 3 times the size of the interstate or the Empire State
Building.
Oh, wow.
Building.
Yeah,
And
Man.
that's a big one.
yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, it's supposed to be relatively close, just a few million
A
miles.
few million. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Which is close in astronomical
I
terms.
guess it is.
Extremely close.
Yeah.
That's
So-
a close call. But that just reminds us that these
Yeah.
objects are either passing by us or hitting us on a regular basis.
Right.
So it shouldn't be surprising to us that's part of the end time story.
Yeah.
That God,
That's why I brought it up, because it
yeah.
is part of the end time story.
it is.
And,
It is.
and
God's
the
used
meteor
this
showers,
before,
are
so-
all part of that, because in Revelation it tells us that the stars are going to fall, and what are
Yeah.
meteor showers look
Yep.
like? Stars falling.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
they didn't
yeah.
have the term meteor shower.
Yeah,
back in
exactly.
the time of the writers of the Bible. So
Yeah.
But God's used that mechanism several times in the past, at least several times.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm talking about cosmic impact events. So so my twin brother Aaron and I were just talking within the last couple days. We talk about cool stuff, but it's about Göbekli Tepe, that ancient civilization that they found in northern Iraq or southern Turkey. But
don't know if I've
but they
heard
found
anything
they
about
found
that.
evidence there of around the time of the story of the biblical flood, and there's like ancient
yes,
stories like the
okay.
Sumerians had the Epic
Yeah.
of Gilgamesh and all that. I
Yeah.
might be saying the name wrong, but anyways,
Gilgamesh? No, that's correct.
that is correct. Okay,
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
Sumerians, right? But archaeologists, geologists, they've discovered evidence that there was possibly a major comet impact at about that time, and comets, of course, carry a lot of water. That's what they're made of, is water. They're ice, mostly ice. So one idea is that
that's
Noah's
the
flood.
difference between asteroids and comets, is because comets
Exactly.
are made of ice.
Yeah.
Asteroids are rock. Yeah.
Exactly. Very good. Yeah, and the asteroids.
And that's
are-
why we don't see their tails, the asteroid,
Oh,
because
yeah.
there usually isn't a tail with them,
Right.
but there is
Yeah.
with the comet.
Yes.
So
When I was a kid, I always thought the comet tail was like fire going out of the back.
Yeah.
How cool is that? No, you're right. It's just the ice particles, water
Yeah.
molecules evaporating off the comet as it gets closer to the sun.
Yep.
But also Sodom and Gomorrah, without question, that there's like
Fire
no,
and brimstone,
no
yeah.
debate.
Yep.
Well, so geologists about 20 years ago, might be 25 years now. Yeah, about 25 years ago. They discovered from northern Africa all the way up to northern Europe this band of a very rich iridium layer.
Yep.
And iridium
Yeah, I heard about
is,
that,
is
yeah.
a 100% telltale sign of a comet impact. And they dated it to the Bronze Age, which is exactly when the Bible dates the story of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because if you read about the story of Sodom and Gomorrah in Genesis, it actually doesn't just say Sodom and Gomorrah, but Sodom and Gomorrah and the towns around it, that whole vicinity. But it wiped out like 70 different civilizations from North Africa up to Northern Europe.
Wow.
And in the course of that, took out, Sodom and Gomorrah, like the Bible says. So God has used this before, the comet impact thing.
Yep.
And yeah, sorry listeners, good morning, happy Friday. It's going to happen again, coming soon.
Yes.
Yeah, and this time it'll be on a much grander scale, the Bible describes. So, but yeah, just keep watching.
Considering the third of the population of the world's going to die. And,
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, killed by that event, but not believers. So
Right.
we talk about this here, the timing of the rapture, which is such a key point. Will the body of Christ be on earth when this event takes place? And again, this is what starts the 7-year Great Tribulation as a major cosmic impact event.
Right.
If you don't believe us, just read Revelation chapter 8 for yourself and see what you think it's describing there, right? I think it's pretty obvious. But it says in Revelation chapter 7, before that event takes place, that God sends his angel around the world. This is verses 1 through 3, Revelation chapter 7, to seal God's people on our foreheads. And that includes Christians and Jews, both, by the way,
Right.
before this takes place. And the purpose is to protect us from everything that God's going to be sending upon the earth, because, of course, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 9 says that we are not appointed to God's wrath,
Right.
which is 100% true. So that doesn't mean that we're not present when it takes place. I mean, Lot was standing there with his family.
Yeah.
Right.
They couldn't look at it. His wife did. She wasn't supposed to.
Yep.
But they were right there when Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. They were in the vicinity, but they were unharmed, all except for his wife. Again, little footnote.
Yeah.
Noah.
Pillar of salt. Wow.
Yes, right.
Really.
Noah and his family. Where were they when the flood took place? Right there.
Yep.
They were in a boat, so they were protected.
In the ark. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how it works. God's people are present when God's wrath hits, but we are supernaturally protected from it.
Right.
So, anyways.
So
again,
everybody migrate to the mountains.
happy 2022,
There you are.
yes. And how soon will this be? I don't know. I always want to say, it's still at least, 20 years before all that this happens. But the word tells us, watch for the signs of the end times, the things that are supposed to happen leading up to. And I mean, all the signs are there, minus just one or two little ones. But even those, I shouldn't say little, they're major.
Yeah.
Like the 7-year peace treaty.
Yeah.
But even
Building
there,
of the temple.
right? But see, even there, though, 100 years ago, 7-year peace treaty, meaningless.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
No kidding.
The rebuilding of the Jewish temple in Jerusalem, meaningless, right? But now, the temple, we have the Temple Institute, the Temple Mount Faithful, huge organization, the Temple Institute in particular, that are preparing to rebuild the temple. And it's a possibility now because the Jews have controlled the Temple Mount ostensibly since 1967.
Right.
At the 7-year peace treaty, are we seeing any hint of the beginning?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And what's that called?
Yeah, the Abraham Accords.
The Abraham Accords, which, by the way, makes a very strong allusion to the rebuilding of the Jewish temple. So all these things are, even the major signs that there hasn't been much of a hint of for centuries. We're seeing all this. If we don't see the third temple yet, but we certainly see they got the blueprints for it. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Got all
So,
that.
Right.
And they're
And
working
almost
on all that.
of the utensils and all the dyes and incense they're working on and there's all kinds of stuff.
It's so funny. That's a perfect segue to my show and tell. So this is what I'm famous for on
yes.
radio.
You brought in something visual for
Yes.
radio today.
For radio, exactly. So we'll have to describe it for the
Ryan
the
does
listening
this,
audience.
folks. You just have to get used to it.
It's just fun. I like to be the odd man out.
Well, this is theater for the mind.
There
That's
you
right.
go.
That's right.
There you are.
So I have with me a very small jar with some Hebrew writing on it that John
you
tried
guys
to
cannot
make
pronounce.
out, and he couldn't do
Translate,
it. Yeah, but actually, John, I just noticed. But if you look, there is some English. It says 100% authentic. Bombofgileadfarm.com, and that word right there, even though the writing's not that great, it says Havdalah. So that's the name of this blend. And what this actually is, this is partially the incense for the Holy Temple.
Oh, wow.
So I bought this, from Balm of Gilead Farm in Israel, which our friend Noam Badim in Israel, hooked me up with. And this is actually, like I said, 4 of the ingredients. Now, the actual incense that will be used in the Holy
7,
Temple.
right?
Good guess.
Yeah.
Actually, if you do 4 plus 7, what do you get?
Oh, 11.
Quick. Oh, good job. Yeah. I was worried there for a second. Yeah. Yeah. There's actually 11 ingredients plus 2 or 3 adjuncts that are like additional. to constitute the actual holy incense that they have to have before temple service can resume. This is only 4 of them. So the farm, this farm in northern Israel, and I've taught the guy on the phone and stuff. His English is almost as bad as my Hebrew, so it's hard to talk to him. But they're growing 5 of the ingredients, and for some reason they only include 4 in this. So this what I have in my hand is a little jar. Again, it's frankincense, myrrh, balm of Gilead, and those all sound exciting, and then cinnamon. So, like I had cinnamon in my morning drink this morning. But here, let me pass this around the room and go ahead and open that up.
All right.
Very careful because that's super expensive. Don't spill it.
Wow.
And you guys notice when you looked at it that it looks like kind of gravel or sand.
Yeah, it looks
right?
like gravel sand. There's like little crystals in it.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how you'd even
weird.
burn this. But,
I don't know.
But myself and Ben Irons, our great friend Elijah Irons, it's his younger brother, right?
Yeah.
So Ben's my current right-hand man in the ministry. So Ben, I've either reeled him in or he enthusiastically volunteered, maybe a combination of the two. He's going to be helping me to work on this project. So the project, by the way, my ministry is These Final Days. Go to thesefinaldays.org, and you'll see on there a link to our incense project or Holy Incense fundraiser. And click on that, and I have a page on my website again, thesefinaldays.org, that describes. Oh, reach across, grab the. Did you guys spill some?
Yes, I took out about half.
Okay, that's okay. That's all right. No. So
nothing got spilled.
He's trying to light it over there. He's trying to see if it burns.
But here's the thing. Yeah, right. See, I don't think it will. So Ben's going to get a little. What do you call it? The how you grind
The grinder
down
thingy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
the stone and bowl.
the, yeah, something like
Yeah.
And we're going to try to grind this down and then
Apothecaries,
Oh,
whatever.
wow.
Yeah,
He's got the official
apothecary.
term. There
There's
you
even
go.
an incense
Yes.
shop here in town I saw over by
Yeah.
McCulloch. And
Yeah.
I tried to stop in there, but they're closer to my go there. But we're going to try to grind this down and see if it'll actually burn. Just kind of curious.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the holy incense, there are strict ordinances, regulations in the Torah, in the Bible, against the Jews formulating or burning the holy incense recipe, right? That God, gave to Moses on Mount Sinai, right? They're not allowed to formulate it. They're not allowed to burn it for anything other than use in the Holy Temple. They can't do it for pleasure or whatever, right? This is also reaffirmed in the Mishnah Torah, in the Talmud, in very clear terms, right? Yeah. Because of this, I've not found one Jew, and I mean like the ones who practice, right? Including the Temple Institute, including Guy Ehrlich, the guy at this farm, etc., who will even consider formulating the holy incense and testing it in advance of the temple being built. Now, here's the problem, and I've actually raised this. Like I was writing back and forth to one of the rabbis at Chabad.org. That's like the clearinghouse of Jewish scholarship, worldwide. Right? They're very, very famous, and we were kind of going back and forth. But I made the point to him. I said, hey, this is problematic because if you guys can't formulate and test the incense before temple service begins, then how does temple service begin? You're just going to throw it together at the last minute, keep your fingers crossed that you got it right. Because if the temple incense is wrong on day one of the temple, guess what? The temple on day one is desecrated just from the incense. Now we know that Antichrist is going to do his own thing to desecrate it.
Right.
It's not going to be the incense, right? Yeah. So here's what's interesting. I found a loophole, and it's repeated in the Talmud and the Mishnah Torah. They both give this loophole that you are allowed to formulate it and test it for educational purposes. Okay, so for research. But the Jews are so, and I raised this point, but they're so nervous about this, they won't even try it. So I wrote to this rabbi, in this exchange. I said, hey, by the way, I'm not a Jew. He kind of thought I was in the first few exchanges. I said, I'm a Christian, a pastor. I've got a ministry, and I said, is there any precedent for Gentiles learning something, research, Jewish scholarship, and then the Jews adopting that? Didn't hear from him for 4 or 5 days, and I thought, okay, I lost this guy's interest, right? He wrote back finally, and he said, you know what? He said there is precedent. Back in the Middle Ages or slightly before, the Jews, I think it was much earlier, like the 3rd, 4th, 5th centuries, right in that range. the Jews decided that they wanted to go off of their approach to their calendar, the Hebrew calendar, which required them. Is this too much detail?
No,
it's fine.
yeah.
But it required them to go outside. Like there had to be a guy up in a certain part of northern Israel that would go outside on a certain date, and if he could see the full moon, that meant that the next month started. But if it was cloudy, then it didn't start until the next day or the day after that. So they wanted to get away from that and standardize their calendar, so that they could predict 500 years in advance. Hey, on this date, this month will begin, like the Gentiles have been able to do. So they needed to find a way to mesh this with the Gregorian calendar so that they could kind of be more in sync with the rest of the world. And how did they do this? They didn't do it themselves. They went to the Gentiles, worked with Gentile scholars to figure out how to combine the two, how to standardize the Hebrew calendar, and so that's our precedent that Gentile research can actually speak into Jewish jurisprudence, right?
Yeah.
Law, and so I took that as a tacit kind of nod of approval. Hey, if you guys want to tackle this incense thing. So, long story short, too late for that. That's our project, and there's no one else in the world working on this. As far as I've been able to discern, and so the first stage we've talked about this here before, and you can read about this on my website, thesefinaldays.org. Right, we're working for about 2 years now. We've been raising funds. We've had the funds for a while now, really, to do it. But then COVID hit, so we've had to delay this. We're trying to fly a Australian marine biologist, Dr. Kirsten Benkendorf, from Southern Australia to Jerusalem to meet with Dr. Baruch Stearman of the Tehillet Institute. Right, they're the ones who figured out how to do the blue dye, and the two of them we're hoping are going to be able to collaborate and solve one of the mysteries of the incense ingredients. So of the 11 ingredients, there are only 4 that are actually mentioned in the Torah, so in our Bible, right? And this is Exodus chapter 34, verse 30, if I remember correctly. And the 4 that it lists are, off the top of my head, I know that one is frankincense, just like our little ingredient here. What are the other 2? It doesn't matter, I guess. Galbanum or something. But one of the 4 is called onicha.
Yeah,
okay?
onicha.
Oh, yeah.
And this has been one of the mysteries lost to history because they haven't made the incense in 2,000 years, of course, right? Since the temple was destroyed. So a theory that Kirsten started to develop, 10, 20 years ago, is that's based on this certain anatomical feature of a sea snail. Well, when I read this in her scientific paper she published, I mean, the bells started going off, of course, and it occurred to me, my gosh, a sea snail, that's where the blue dye comes from, the Tehillet, which is another thing they need for the temple. And that's been, widely accepted. The Temple Institute actually has been buying garments dyed with this blue dye. So the idea is to get these 2 scientists together to see if they can kind of confirm to the extent possible that that this, tziporin is the Hebrew word for it, but the onicha, that this is related to the same snail. It's called Murex trunculus. It's a snail, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's not actually the most interesting missing ingredient. Okay, I just have a little bit more to share here. I don't think I told you guys about this. So the most interesting missing ingredient, because even in the time of the temple, this was the one ingredient that nobody knew, including the Jews themselves, except one family called the Avtinus family. They kept this one secret. It's called Ma'ala Ashan is the ingredient. And in Hebrew, that means that which causes the smoke to rise. Okay,
Oh, wow.
And to this day, that's the most mysterious of the 11 ingredients. But there's a prevailing theory, and Ben actually made this amazing discovery. This guy called Stein Saltz put together this amazing multi-volume commentary on the Torah, the Talmud, and the Talmud actually in particular. But he even writes in this very, very widely accepted commentary that the strongest theory or the best theory, in fact, he just states it as fact, is a plant called Leptidenia pyrotechnica.
Wow.
And you hear that last
Yes,
part, pyrotechnica. What does that make you think of, right?
Yep.
This is this ugly, big shrub weed that grows in the Judean desert and then throughout the Gulf states, in the Middle East, right? And the reason it has that name is that one of the ingredients in this plant is actually nitric acid, which is what causes dynamite to explode.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this plant you have to be really careful with, because if you accidentally light it on fire, it's going to explode, right? It's going to burn really fast, very, very brightly, very hot.
Wow.
I've looked all over the entire world, and I'm not saying I've turned over every stone. I'm still working on it, but I've talked to every nursery I can get a hold of in Israel. I've called every nursery, that I can, to this point in the Southwest, not every single one, but a lot of them. And I just cannot find anyone who has this plant, Leptidemia pyrotechnica. But I found one nursery in Dubai, of all places, in the United Arab Emirates, that happens to sell this plant.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I wrote to them, never heard back. I finally called them, taught the guy, his English was actually pretty good, okay, in Dubai. And he said, I'm sorry, we don't ship to the U.S. Okay, well, what if you shipped it to Israel, to my friend Noam, and then Noam could mail it to me? And then, sorry, we don't ship to Israel. Okay, so he hasn't heard about the Abraham Accords yet, I guess. So then, how about you send it to Beirut, and our friend Naif in Beirut then, and he could, and Naif wouldn't even hesitate. He'd be like, yeah. In fact, I had Naif go all over Lebanon looking for Leptidemia pyrotechnica, and it's not there either. They don't ship to Lebanon because, and I'm thinking because the UAE is a Sunni Muslim country, Lebanon is controlled by the Shiites right now, Iran. This is all part of the end time story too. Right. So, long story short, that's the third time I've said that in the last 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Gosh, we got to wrap up this segment real quick. So real quick. So Noam, our friend in Israel, who has actually been in this station before, talking on air. He's visited Havasu, many times, even once with his wife and kid. He's got 2 kids now. But in the context of the Abraham Accords, Noam has been going back and forth between Israel and Dubai, to work on water conservation projects and all this. So he's going again next month. He's going to be so mad if he knows I said this on air, because it's still very iffy, okay? So I'm trying to talk him into, while you're in Dubai, can you swing by this nursery? So his concern is, is he allowed to bring these seeds, very dangerous plant, onto the airplane? And then when he gets it back to Israel, is he allowed to ship it from Israel to the U.S.? So he's a full Orthodox Jew, so he is very much against bending rules or even pushing the envelope, which I should be too. But I push it here and there. But he'll be. But we're working on this, so I'm gonna get him to the nursery. We'll buy the seeds and then just see what happens. But hey, everybody, pray about this. We need that plant. Yes. And we're going to collect all the ingredients for the holy incense. And it's a long-term project here. We're talking about several years to do all this. But that's our goal. These final days of ministries, and we're going to be the ones who rediscover after 2,000 years the holy incense recipe that will be used in the third temple that Jesus will rule and reign in for 1,000 years. So
there we go.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
Yeah.
So, anyways. So we had nothing to talk about in our first segment, and but look, my show and tell saved the day. So.
There you go.
Our number 800-721-9313, 1-800-721-9313. We'll be back here in just a couple of minutes with Pastor Ryan and John in the studio. Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network.
It's winding up with Scripture really well.
Right?
Yeah.
No kidding. Hey, and by the way, thank you also for your comments on the YouTube channel, because you're like the one person on there who's not mad at me. So I appreciate that.
I just comment, I mean,
you have great comments.
I'm looking at all this stuff. It's like, to me, it's like Biden is a pale horseman.
He's pale.
Stop and think about it. He campaigned from his basement. There's no sun there. So
there you go.
And death and hell follows him. So I mean, look at Afghanistan. So you start right there.
Yeah.
So, and he's already said that he's not going to have anything to do with any more wars in the Middle East. He said that when he pulled the troops out of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That's why I'm really paying attention to what's going on with Israel right now.
Well, he's indirectly starting a major war between Israel and Iran if he keeps going down the track he's going. Yeah.
Right.
So he may not want to, but that's.
But see, in Daniel it says the Moab and Edom and all of these
Yeah, Amon. Yeah, that's
won't
Jordan.
won't be involved. But I'm thinking it's not that they're not going to be involved. I think it's they're clearing the way.
Well, those three, places that it names collectively constitute the modern day nation of Jordan, and Jordan actually is where the Jews will be holed up during the last half of the 7-year Great Tribulation. That's very clear in Scripture. It describes the area down around Petra, Mount Seir. I was trying to think of the name of it.
Yeah.
But and there's a little town down there called Wadi Musa, and there's a lot of water in that area. But according to Scripture, the Jews during the last half of the tribulation, they'll be hiding out there. They'll be brought there on the wings of an eagle. That's Revelation chapter 12, and an eagle, of course, symbolizes
the United States.
Exactly. Yeah. So all part of the story for sure. So this should be on the air. This is good stuff.
Yeah, it should be. I don't like to call you guys when you're on the air, though, because, I never know.
Well, we are not going to answer. That's that's
yeah.
Right.
so
Busy.
we don't answer the phone when we're on
I
air.
tried to get on Ryan. I tried to get on your. Are you on Facebook when you're doing your class?
The class. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, because I went there, and this was last Thursday before last, one or the other, and there was nothing there. And then
I'm sorry about that. So try again next week. Okay, so next Thursday. So what happened last week is the Wi-Fi in our church went completely down. So I ended up doing the live stream with my phone, which was terrible. But you wouldn't have been able to connect to it through the event, which was such a shame. I spent $20 to market the event, and then technical problems. Anyways,
Wow.
But try next Thursday. You know what our problem is? One word: sudden link.
Oh,
That's our problem. Yeah,
There you go.
but they send another guy out, and supposedly it's working now. So try again next week, please.
yeah, I dropped Sudden Link and went to Frontier.
Yep, me too. Years ago. Yeah.
Sudden Link was charging me way too much money.
Mm-hmm.
So started off at $30 a month. The next thing I know, it went up to $70, and then next thing I know, it was $156 a month. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, they were charging me something like that, and I wasn't getting internet. I spent a whole month in Starbucks working because I couldn't get internet at home. And
Gosh.
that was
Wow.
it. I had like 7 different guys come out, and
And so now
Really?
they're just
Yeah.
automatically taking money out of my.
I can't stand
out of
Frontier.
my-
I went to Suddenlink years ago,
now
and I hardly ever have a problem.
So
But I have my own equipment, so
Yeah, and that is true of Suddenlink. But the issue is if you ever do have a problem getting it solved, it's really spotty. So
I haven't had any problems with them.
that's what I'm saying
So-
though. Like if
It's really
something ever
spotty.
does go wrong,
No, I
yeah.
mean they're out usually that day or the day after.
Oh,
and
so you
fix
have
it.
had them out to
Yeah.
fix stuff?
Oh yeah.
So they
they had to
like
run
you
a
better
brand
than
new
me.
cable and everything to our house because it wasn't
really?
run
Okay.
before.
Yeah.
And so we've got all new equipment. I guess that's
Yeah.
probably why it's and our node is like not even a block away.
So why'd you
there you go.
get such good service? I think the guy that came out to my house was pre-trib. Yeah. So he's mad at me. he didn't like me. So
That's it.
I know some of the people there that might help.
Part of the
I don't know.
There you go.
yeah.
My daughter babysits for one of the women that used to work
so you
there.
got that-
He's
you
got
have
an
an
N.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, they're good guys. So I like them.
I'm on a chat line now that's these people are starting to see a different light,
Yeah.
because they were all pre-tribbers,
Yeah.
and then I see, well, then what was Paul talking about in chapter 5?
Yeah. Yeah. The day of the Lord will not
Yeah.
be as a thief in the night to us. Exactly.
Right.
We won't be caught off guard at all. Which
You
must
know,
mean
and,
we
and,
know
and
that.
up here in chapter 4, it says alive and remain. What does remain mean? It means to survive.
Right.
Survive what?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Think about it. Then go into the Old Testament and start reading.
Yep.
You'll be amazed. You'll
Yep.
start reading about the volcanoes. You'll start reading about the floods.
Mm.
All this stuff is going on throughout the world right now.
Yep.
So Saudi Arabia just got hit with a big flood.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
Wow.
me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of people died.
Oh, no
Wow.
kidding. What,
Yep.
how did I miss that? Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, it's the Lord's angry, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, tornadoes in places they've never had tornadoes before.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, waves coming in that were in Spain that were like 40 feet tall.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, going over a 3-story house.
Isn't that something? Wow.
Man.
You know,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
So God's trying to get everybody's attention.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying. He's got mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
But that sorceries one was pretty cool when I found that.
Oh yeah, that was excellent. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
was that the letter you wrote to me or the YouTube? I'm trying to remember.
It could have been both.
I
I
think
don't
in
know.
both. Yeah.
I got a prayer I'm working on that I'm going to be sending out next, and so I mean, I do this all out of my own budget, so I have to work within what I got,
Right.
and they raised my rent up $75 in 1 year.
Wow.
So
Trying to find
and,
Saudi flood.
I only make, well, now I make $923, but and you take
Yeah.
$650 out of that just for a place to live.
Hey Richard,
Wow.
the other line is ringing.
Yeah,
So
we
you
got
go
another call
competition.
coming in, buddy.
All right. talk to
Hey, God
guys
bless you,
later.
man.
Okay. Talk later.
Love you,
Bless.
brother.
Be blessed by the best.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
All right.
Bye-bye. Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network.
Oh, good morning. You guys were talking about some ingredients in the Bible,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
and I was wondering where is that in the Bible?
Yes. So the holy incense, of course, again, was,
Exodus, right?
it is. It's Exodus. Actually, it's funny. I was just getting ready to look it up. So let me
Exodus
confirm.
4?
I think it's 34:30, and I'm confirming now.
34:30.
It's not. I'm sorry. It's 30:34. I said it wrong
Oh,
on air.
34.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe I'll correct that on air because yes, here it is right here. Yeah. So again, though, there's actually 11 ingredients to the incense. The Bible only lists 4, but where we get the other 11 is Maimonides listed in the Mishnah Torah, and then they're also listed in the Talmud. And Maimonides actually gives all 11 ingredients by their Hebrew names and their Arabic names. So
And there's actually a plant called Pyrotechnica.
Leptidenia pyrotechnica. Yep.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and it's the
Yeah.
best candidate by far for the Ma'ala Ashan, that mysterious ingredient, and it's
Okay.
that which caused the smoke to rise.
And in a straight line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why it's so difficult to see what
Yeah.
what ingredient would cause smoke to actually do that.
Yeah.
Because smoke
Right.
normally doesn't do that.
Well,
I mean,
even
it'll
the slightest
rise.
bit of like ambient, like it could be a very still room,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
but incense smoke is going to drift around.
And you had
Yeah.
mentioned amphetamine.
Cinnamon. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cinnamon.
Yeah, cinnamon. Like we put in coffee and cookies and
yeah,
Yeah.
we're drinking it right
Candy.
now.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
That's it.
cinnamon and honey in our coffee. Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's 34 Exodus.
yes.
Exodus 30:34.
Yep.
And I'm glad you asked for clarification. I might clarify that on.
I
air
think
real
we need
quick.
to. Yeah. Yeah.
So
We'll clarify
Well, I
that on
thank
it.
you guys.
Hey.
Oh, you're very
Thank
welcome.
you.
What's
Yeah,
your name
God
and where are
bless.
you calling from?
Shuttle, Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah, and you guys have a beautiful day.
Hey, you too.
God
Thanks.
bless.
Bye-bye.
God bless.
Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network.
Yeah, this is me again.
Hi, me.
Mr. B.
Hey, you guys, check out Ezekiel chapter 20. Of course, the last part of it talks about the fires. All right. And then it slides right into 21. And in 21, he says, this third time I come against you. And he's talking to Israel. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So what's the first time? It was Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Second time was Rome. What's the third time?
That he came. Oh, okay. So the first time was Babylon. Okay, you're talking about when the temple was destroyed. Well, the third time is the Antichrist.
Right.
Yeah.
Then it even mentions in there, thou wicked prince of Israel. See, I told you before, that he comes out of Israel.
Oh, he's definitely Jewish. Yeah.
Because he's going to have to.
I'm trying to pull it up. It's not coming up right now. But Ezekiel chapter 20. No, that's an excellent point. I never caught that before. Wicked Prince of Israel. That is interesting.
Yes.
Here we go. Ezekiel 20, right?
21.
20 and
Ezekiel.
21. Yeah.
20 talks about the fires, the last part of it.
Oh, okay.
And then
then-
chapter 21.
And then it slides into 21.
Yeah,
You
I'm
okay?
looking up right now.
You all right? Hello?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here.
To you, O profane, wicked Prince of Israel.
You kind of made
is,
some noises, and then I didn't hear anything. So
Oh,
I wanted to
no,
make sure you were okay.
Yeah, verse 25 talks about the wicked.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm looking at it
wicked.
right now. Yeah,
Right.
chapter 21. Yeah, interesting. Wow. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
study this out. I love it.
And then here in verse 14, thou therefore, son of man, prophesy and smite thine hands together, and let the sword be doubled the third time. The sword of the slain.
Interesting.
It is the sword of the great men that are slain, which entereth into their private
Private
chambers.
chambers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I will definitely study this out.
And then in Revelation, if you read, I think it's in chapter 9, he says, bring out thy sickle, and then another one, bring out thy sickle, and another
yeah,
one, bring
Revelation
out thy
chapter
sickle.
16. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yep.
Anyway, I try to put things together in the Old Testament with the New Testament because, Revelation 1, I think it's 19 or 23, it says that which was, is, and shall, which is, was, and shall be. So in
Yeah.
other words, it's repeating itself.
That's real scholarship is
Yes.
cross-referencing to the Old Testament. That's the way to do it, Richard.
Yep.
Right?
Amen.
So it's repeating itself.
That's awesome, man.
So when I read the Old Testament, I can put it into context with the New.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah,
the way it's
that's
done.
the best way
Yep.
to do it.
Anyway, love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you
Thanks,
too,
John.
man. Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate the input.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We're at 7.5 minutes after the hour, and we have had some really great phone calls. Thank you, Richard, and
Yeah, Mr. B.
Mr. Sholo. I'm going to call him because he
Yeah,
didn't give us
catch
his name.
Yeah.
So, but he had a great question, Ryan.
He did,
He
and
wanted to
I'm
know
so
about
glad he called.
the
Yeah.
ingredients and where he could find that in the Bible. And we had mentioned Exodus before,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, we did give the wrong address. So
Not we, it was me.
Okay, well,
Thanks-
I
thanks
didn't
for-
want
thanks
to,
for trying
lay
to
all
take
the
some of
blame
that,
on
yeah.
you, but it
Appreciate
was
that.
your fault. But-
It was. And I'm the guy who's supposed to know, So,
please reiterate
Yes.
the importance of the scripture,
Yeah.
and where it can be found.
So this is the holy incense that that we have to have before temple service can resume. Okay, and the Jews will not figure this out on their own because they're afraid to because the ordinances. We have found a loophole. We meaning these Final Days ministries, of which the three of us here are part of it, right?
Right.
But so we'll work on this. Well, the incense it's challenging. We're going to solve this. But the Torah only lists 4 of the 11 ingredients, and then again there's 2 or 3 adjuncts that go along with it. But those are like extra ingredients. They're not considered like main ingredients. But the 4 that the Bible actually quotes or mentions by name are stakte, onicha. And that's the one that's the little operculum of the sea snail, right? That's our
Right.
2 scientists we're trying to get together. Galbanum and frankincense. Okay. So this was the story of Moses up on Mount Sinai. God's giving him instructions about the Torah, the law, the temple, the priests, everything.
Yeah.
And this is where we get this.
Where he spent his 40 days up there and
Yep,
shined
exactly.
like the moon, and when he came
Yeah,
down, and
which actually,
they were all
if-
afraid.
if we
He
ever
had
get to
a maid wear a
Revelation-
veil and
Yeah.
And do you know that story is actually coming up in our Revelation study if we ever actually get to it this morning?
Yes.
Me and my show and tell is taking up the
Sometime.
whole morning.
Yeah.
So, but and it's actually one of the most interesting parts of Revelation chapter 1. So good connection there. So so this is in Exodus chapter 30 verse 34, and I misquoted it before. I won't say what I said wrong, confuse people further. Exodus 30:34. Now, to get the rest of the ingredients, again, you have to look at Maimonides, you have to look at the Talmud. But here's a great source I can send our listeners to if they're interested. This is a good starting place. Just go to Wikipedia and look up incense offering.
Oh, wow.
And it talks about the ingredients there and where to find more information. So
now,
and
do
hey,
they have to type in like Jewish temple, or is it just incense offering?
just incense
and
offering.
it'll give them
Yeah.
more detail.
Yep, and
Okay.
or they could put in the Hebrew name, but that's going to confuse people. But I'll say that's ketoret is what it's called in the Hebrew. The incense. That's Ketoret. Just so you know.
Okay.
So, but anyways, and if anyone wants to be involved with this with us, again, go to my website thesefinaldays.org, and you'll see the link there for our incense project. And take a look. It's pretty exciting.
Yes.
Which is not me fundraising, because if you want to. If you like our show, if you like what we do here, then we always encourage you, please support your Celebration
Yeah,
Radio
amen.
Network.
Yeah.
And you can go to knlb.com to make an online donation, or you can call in. Or Bill, how can people give to the station?
They
That's so
can go to
important that we-
sharethelightnow.com. That's sharethelightnow.com. Give online. It's a secure website that accepts American Express, MasterCard, Visa. Or you can give us a call here, 800-721-9313, and we can take your information. You can set it up to where it comes out any day of the month. If you wanted to become an Air Team member or a pledge partner, or if it's just a one-time gift, we can take it over the phone as well. Or you can write us at your Celebration Radio Network. That's P.O. Box 747, Lake Havasu City, Arizona, 86405.
Yep. And your giving supports this show that we do every other Friday, and everything else that this
Yes.
wonderful station does,
Yes,
all the
amen.
great things that the station does. So
Yeah, Treehouse One. Yeah,
Yeah.
all of
Oh
it.
yeah, all the great music and the news and the teaching, and just thank you, Farron and Debbie Echo Barger, for being such phenomenal stewards of this amazing ministry.
Yes, amen.
Yeah, and
That is
thank you,
true.
Bill, for being the greatest radio host
There you
on
go.
planet Earth. And et cetera,
Well,
et
I
cetera.
appreciate
And
that.
John,
Thank
you're
you.
pretty cool too. I like your beard.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah, no.
Santa over there.
John, we can never thank you enough for being part of
Oh, I
our
know.
show. Just
Yeah.
isn't it way more fun
Thank
with the three of us here? Speaking of which, Revelation chapter 1, verse 13.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Should we look at it?
That book.
Well, yeah, I guess we probably could. Yeah.
Now that we're already
We only have,
into the-
a couple more segments to get through the rest of this verse. So,
let's see if
and
we
we
can
also
at
have
least
a
get through
chance
this.
to win coming up. So
Yes,
That's right.
That too.
So last time we were together 2 weeks ago, which was Christmas Eve.
Yes.
That was all the way last year, right? We did get through the first half of Revelation chapter 1, verse 13. We're taking our time here. And in the midst of the seven lampstands, one like the Son of Man, fascinating stuff. Go back and listen to our podcast if you want to, review that show. That's The End Times with Bill, Ryan, and John. You can find it on any of your favorite, podcast platforms. Now, the second half we have not yet addressed, so let's do that now.
Okay.
Clothed with a garment, and who's clothed? One like the Son of Man, that's Jesus, of course, down to the feet, and girded about the chest with a golden band. Here again, I always say this. This is something that it would be super easy to just skim over. Oh, okay, that's a neat description. I can picture it. It sounds neat.
Right.
But if we take our time, and there are no words wasted in the book of Revelation. Every single detail is to get our attention and get us to think about something else. So what does this call to mind? Make us think of the garment. First of all, let's start with that. So what I think that it's meant to invoke is we're talking about the holy incense, right, in the temple. Is the garments of the high priest.
Exactly,
Okay,
yeah.
and on a particular day. So it doesn't say in this verse anything about the color of the garment that Jesus is wearing. We have other verses in Revelation that we'll get to in a few minutes here that suggest very strongly that this garment that Jesus is wearing is the color white.
Yes.
And it kind of makes sense. It's hard to
Yeah.
picture any other color, right, on Jesus in heaven, right? So the high priest actually would only wear the white linen garments once a year, one day out of the year. Anybody want to guess what day?
Ramadan.
No,
Or
that's
the Day of Atonement.
Yeah, Ramadan.
Sorry.
That's a Muslim
I
holiday.
was like,
yeah, he said,
Sorry.
I was just testing us.
Sorry. That happened just
funny.
not too
That's
long
good.
ago. So I guess
Yeah.
it was in my brain still.
Right.
Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I was
Hebrew
trying to
word.
say.
There you
Excellent.
go.
So that's the
Day of the Atonement. Yeah.
And he would put on this special white garment, and he would actually have three, versions of this garment. and he would change it out each time, so that each time he went into the Holy of Holies, he'd be wearing a fresh, copy of the white linen garments. Copy is the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And do you guys remember? So he went into the Holy of Holies 3 times on the Day of Atonement. This was the only day out of the entire year that anyone could go in to the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant was,
the mercy seat. Right.
Yeah. And only the high priest could go in. And do you remember what the 3 times were? And John knows because he's looking over my shoulder.
Oh no, I'm not looking.
Okay. You remember what the three what he would do on these 3 visits into the Holy of Holies? So the first one.
Did he put blood on?
What did I just pass around?
For some reason, I keep thinking about
the incense.
Oh, the incense.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. What I just pass around, right?
Yeah.
That our listening audience has no idea. They can't see it, but it's this little jar.
Little jar.
So we're working on the incense.
Yeah.
His first visit. He would do the incense offering. Interesting thing about that, Rabbi Richmond, you remember I interviewed him back in 2012, International Director of the Temple Institute. He wrote a book about the Holy Temple.
DVDs? No, that's not on the DVDs.
It's not.
No.
He actually
that was the trip before.
He let me film the interview, but he insisted that I never make it public. I'll give you guys a copy of it, but I can't. I'm sorry, listening audience, I can't make it available publicly. But anyways, he wrote a book about the temple and the services and all that. And in the book, he actually says that when the high priest would come in on this first visit, again wearing the white garment, that's our Revelation verse, that when he ignited the incense, he would have to jump back so as not to get burned. Oh, wow. Which suggests to me that it's highly combustible. Yeah, that's our plant, man. Leptidemia, pyrotechnica,
Yeah,
and I have
like
a little place in my backyard set aside to grow this plant.
There you go.
I haven't told
Got a
Pam yet that
bonfire
it actually
next door.
is explosive. Yeah. Hey, honey, we're going to grow this plant. She's probably listening right now. We'll have a conversation. I get home.
No, we're not.
Right. But
Ben can grow that.
Yeah, and Ben is very much in on this, man. He's such a smart kid.
Yeah,
so
I don't think his mom and dad let him grow it either.
those two, I don't know. Yeah, they're pretty cool. I don't know.
Tony. Yeah, probably. Yeah, they seem that way.
Yeah, now that the topic's been broached, we'll discuss it. So the second time was for the bull's blood to sprinkle on the ark, and that was for his atonement and his family. And then the third and final time was the goat's blood, and that was for the atonement of the entire nation of Israel.
The nation,
So what is this? What is the white garment? Strongly, to the greatest extent possible, suggests to us Jesus' office as high priest.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So I'm looking at the time. I think we need to take a break, but when we come back, let's talk about what the second component of his attire that Revelation chapter 1 verse 13 mentions, which is the girded about the chest with a golden band. When we come back, we'll talk about what that symbolizes, and then the two of them together, what they mean. Cool.
Amen.
All right.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
We're at 25 minutes after. My name is Bill. Pastor Ryan and John are in the studio with me this morning, and we are talking about Revelation 1:13. And last break, we were discussing the clothed with the garment down to his feet, and also girded about the chest with a gold band.
Yeah.
A gold band, which is not part of the high priest's Yom Kippur garments. It's meant to invoke royalty.
Yeah,
now,
I think so.
Can think about where it's placed as well, across the chest.
Yeah.
Not the waist or, not the loins, but it's the chest.
That did seem strange to me. Yeah. What do you see in there?
Well, typically a robe is girded about in the waist,
That's
right?
what I
It's got a,
pictured,
like a tie there. Your bathrobes,
Yeah.
all of
You're exactly
even
right.
royalties. But his is across his chest, and it's like, that not really puffed up, but it's a show of strength.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah. And then
He's
by his heart.
he's our high priest. He's
Right.
our proud, it's just something that royal kind of flow that would just invoke that's strength and I guess
having the band higher up.
Yeah,
like that,
having the band
across his
higher up.
chest.
Yeah, across his chest.
'Cause
And
it
you
did
mentioned
seem-
his heart as well.
Yeah.
And it's just something that you don't typically see in a robe.
It's true. Yeah.
So
you
I
think
kind
more
of
like the waist. So
the waist.
that
That's
is
what
something
usually
to
where
that.
it's girded is through the waist, but
So-
this is across his chest.
So definitely, like you say, strength and maybe authority or something.
Yeah, authority. That was the word I was looking for.
And
Yeah.
so this is why. So between those two things, what are we seeing then in this garment that Jesus is wearing, the the white linen robe, and then this golden band about the chest. You're making a very good point there. So the two of them together are
Well, high priest. I mean, that's
priest and
king.
and king. Those
Yeah.
two things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so there's one example in Scripture, right, where we see a person, just one example in the entire Bible, besides Jesus himself and,
Right.
and us, because we're described as priests and kings, right? In Revelation chapter 3, I think it's verse 10, if I remember right. But who was the guy? And actually, you've got that scripture.
Yeah,
right?
Melchizedek. And
Yeah.
Hebrews 7, chapter 7, verse 1 through 3 says, "For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings, and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all." Now, this is where we get our tithes and, our
Absolutely.
percentages and what, we should be doing
Yeah.
as
Abraham
a believer.
paid a tithe. Yeah.
He paid tithes.
Yeah.
And first being by interpretation, king of righteousness. And after all that, also king of Salem, which is king of peace.
Yeah.
Now, without father, without mother,
This part
without
where it's
descent,
weird.
having neither beginning of days nor end of life,
Yeah, this is crazy.
but made like unto the Son of God, abideth a priest continually.
Isn't that amazing? So
Talk about
this is an
incredible
actual
when-
person. Yeah, and this is before the time of Moses or the
Right.
Torah or anything.
Yeah.
So Abraham, the father of faith, right? And he went to war, and this was when Lot had been kidnapped by the northern nations
Tribes,
and tribes. And Abraham went off and they fought and killed a bunch of these guys, took back the spoils. But this was a real person though, Melchizedek. But isn't that weird, the description? So without father, without mother, without genealogy,
Without
having
beginning.
neither beginning of days
Or
nor end of
end.
life.
Yeah.
But made like the Son of God. I mean, this is
Yeah.
in Hebrews. The story, of course, is in Genesis originally.
Yeah.
But so because of this bizarre description in Hebrews, some scholars have suggested, and I'm not saying I'm suggesting this because I usually get somebody upset when I do. Of course, most things I say get somebody upset.
that's all right.
Yeah, we're having fun here. But some scholars have suggested, was this maybe even like a pre-incarnate Christ? So in other words, in a way, for whatever reason, maybe Jesus himself taking this form, and I understand the resistance to that. So that's why I don't want to take a position one way or another, because it wasn't until Jesus was born, as a human.
Yeah.
But maybe Melchizedek, maybe he had the appearance of a who knows?
Yeah.
And Jesus does make at least one other appearance in the Old Testament, and that's of course in the furnace with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah.
We get the very strong impression that that's Jesus himself walking around in there with them. So, but whoever Melchizedek was, at the very least, he was a principal archetype of Jesus himself. Okay.
Yes.
And
Well, it says unto the Son of God.
yeah, exactly.
So-
Made
Yeah.
like the Son of God. So definitely a principal archetype of Jesus himself, right? If not actually, like some scholars suggest. But what's amazing about him is that he was both a king and a priest, highly
Right.
unusual, and that's what distinguishes him.
And it never happened anywhere else.
Right.
Until
I love that you-
Revelation.
Exactly.
That's
It
it.
never happened
Yeah.
again until the book
Right.
of Revelation. And I love that you brought out the thing, Abraham paid him a tenth of all. That's the tithe. So this was before the law.
This was before Micah chapter 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is this is before the law. So people say, well, the tithe, that's under the law. No, it's not. The tithe, I mean, we see it right here, Abraham himself, the father of our faith, right?
Yeah.
He's called, right?
Right.
And who is he paying the tithe to? It's Melchizedek as a type, a major archetype of Jesus himself. So
Yeah.
So how do I acknowledge Jesus as both priest and king? Well, personally, I pay my tithe. I haven't missed
Yes.
a tithe since 1998, and never would, never will.
Yeah.
Do you know that Jesus himself? This is way off topic, but hey, that we're having fun. Jesus himself in Matthew chapter 23, verse 23, he says to the Pharisees, "You should pay tithes," and then he says, "And but also don't neglect the weightier matters of the law, justice, mercy,
yeah.
good faith." But in the Gospels, Jesus himself says those words.
Yes.
You should tithe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if Jesus says it,
Yep.
tithing, I'm gonna tithe. Okay,
There you go.
different stuff. But yeah, isn't that cool though? So priest and king, and so John, you had a couple scriptures, but I just noticed the clock.
Oh,
Should we-
no.
What do you want to do?
Take a break.
We're going to go to a break, and when we get back, we'll cover what John's going to read, and then we're also going to do a contest this morning before the top of the hour. So we've got some books and DVD series to give away,
Yep.
and
These
we'll
final
be doing
days.
that for your chance to win coming up also. So stay tuned for that. Again, the phone number here is 800-721-9313, 1-800-721-9313. We're at 16 minutes to the top of the hour. Our phone number again, 800-721-9313, 1-800-721-9313. And real quick, I wanted to read this before we get to John's verses, guys. Romans 6:23. And this is just so... it's an incredible verse because it says, "For the wages of sin is death."
Yeah.
A reminder of what the gift that God gave us that we just celebrated 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord.
Right.
And that's what it's all about.
That's
It
it.
is. It is.
You know?
And we should emphasize, like we always do, that doesn't mean eternal spiritual life. It includes that, but it literally
Right.
means eternal physical life.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's our promise. That
That
just
is
like
our
Jesus
promise, yes.
physically rose from the grave, that we will all live in our physical bodies throughout eternity, whether we're resurrected or raptured.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So
It is.
Exactly.
we
It
should take
is.
better care of these temples in the meantime. He's going to perfect it, though. You know,
Well, I hope so,
That's
because
what
I
I'm
want
hoping for.
my
That's-
abs to show.
Yeah.
You know?
I wouldn't mind a little bit less of a bald spot on
Yeah,
it.
same here.
there you
We'll
go.
make our wish
Want
list
more
right
hair.
now. Right.
More hair.
So we're so good looking right now, but there's always a little bit of room for
There
improvement.
is always room for improvement, no matter who you are, right?
I should grow a beard like you guys.
There you go. There you are.
Might
There
help.
Hey, so we're looking at Revelation 15. We're looking at verse 5 and 6. This goes along with what Jesus is wearing. So
Right.
it says, "After these things I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was opened. And out of the temple came the 7 angels having the 7 plagues, clothed in pure bright linen, and having their chests girded with the golden bands." Which is exactly the description of what Jesus was.
Exactly.
Yeah,
wearing
in
the same
Revelation
thing.
1:13.
Even the
And
chest.
that's how we know it
like
was white. You didn't, because it doesn't say white in the previous verses, but this is where you can see
But we
it's
cross-reference.
white. Yeah, cross-reference.
And even here, it doesn't specifically say white, but it says pure bright.
pure bright. Yeah.
But then the next verse, actually, we get the color white.
yeah.
And again, it's a cross reference.
Right. Exactly. And Revelation 19:14, is that where it has the?
Yep.
Yes. There you go.
And this is all of us now,
Yeah.
right?
And the armies in heaven, clothed in fine linen, white and clean, followed him on white horses.
And that, of course, is describing the second coming when Jesus
Yeah.
comes back.
Yeah.
But here's one of our techniques for interpreting Revelation, understanding it. We read something in one verse, don't get all the details, but then cross-reference it to related verses, and then you kind of get, okay, we know that these are linen garments, that they're pure and clean, and that they're white. You get that color.
Yeah.
But
amen.
So Revelation. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to skim over that, John.
Okay.
But Revelation 15, 5 and 6. What else do you see in that verse that's interesting? Those verses that's interesting, just because we're here, some
Yeah,
as well,
there you go.
because our listening audience might be like, wait, did I hear the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven?
Yes. Yeah.
What does that mean?
I just always breeze over these things.
I
you
know, right?
You always
Yeah.
be, oh yeah, temporal, yeah. You just
Yeah, you guys know me
whoops.
though. I won't allow
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Got to get stuck in every detail.
Well, the tabernacle we have, or the temple we have here, is an exact copy, or not an exact, but a copy of what is actually already there in heaven.
Yes, and how do we know that? Where do you get that, John?
Where did I get that? Well, it's actually back in the Old Testament when he talks about the dimensions and everything of how to build.
For
the
sure, that on
tabernacle.
Mount Sinai. Yeah, we
Yes.
also get it in the book of Hebrews.
Yeah,
exactly.
in Hebrews, same
yeah, so
thing,
the
yeah.
Bible's really clear, Old Testament and New, that
Yeah.
that the holy temple here on earth. And again, so many Christians don't even think about the holy temple, and even many Jews are like, well, that was 2,000 years ago. But it's a precise pattern of what actually exists in heaven. So
Yeah.
in heaven there is a temple. It says the tabernacle of the testimony. What is the testimony? That's the tablets of stone that have the 10 Commandments on them, the foundation of God's law. And do you know, Revelation chapter 11, this is so bizarre, it even mentions John looking up into heaven and seeing, of all things, the Ark of the Covenant.
Ah, yeah.
So is that the actual Ark of the Covenant, or is that the heavenly version of it, and the one down here is just a copy? But so that's one interesting thing. And then what about this, verse 6, out of the temple came the 7 angels having the 7 plagues. So, Bill, where is this in our Revelation timeline? Do you remember? This is tricky. The 7.
Tricky.
So remember that there are 7 seals,
Right.
followed by 7 trumpets,
Yeah.
and these 7 plagues are also known as the 7 bowl judgments.
Bowls,
Right.
Do you guys remember where, according to at least to the timeline I've spent the
5 or
last 4
6.
years developing?
We're in 5 or 6, I believe. Right.
Well, like
But that's-
where in the 7-year period of the Great Tribulation, where on that timeline would you place the 7? I'll tell you where
That's after the 3.5 years.
No, you're exactly right.
Yeah, it is.
After the first
Yeah.
3.5 years, so it's during the second half of the Great Tribulation. That's exactly right. And the 7 bowl judgments that we're seeing
Because
here
the first
is described.
3.5 is, the
Peace.
peace and
Yeah.
Everybody
love
thinks
and everybody.
most people think everything's okay,
Yeah.
except
Yeah.
us 3 will be on the air, like the 2 witnesses in Jerusalem.
Uh-huh.
No,
Yeah.
that's
No,
not the
don't
Messiah. It's the Antichrist. Don't listen to him. Don't
Yeah.
take the mark.
Yeah.
But yeah, so during that last half, so the Antichrist has committed the abomination of desolation. He's pursuing Christians and Jews worldwide, cutting our heads off if he gets a hold of us, right? The Jews have had to escape Israel. They're holed up in southern Jordan. We were just talking to Mr. B on the phone about that, Richard, right? He's desecrated the temple
Yeah.
again, the abomination of desolation, so he's caused the Holy Spirit to flee. The War of Armageddon is just about ready to get underway at this point. And this is when God unleashes the final plagues, his final contribution to the Great Tribulation. And what the 7 plagues are, the 7 bowl judgments that we're seeing here in these verses, again, it's Revelation 15, 5, and 6, is God's final judgment against this world system that culminates in the other verse that you read, John, Revelation chapter 19, which is Jesus coming back on the clouds of power and great glory,
Yeah.
and the armies of heaven are with him. That's
19:14, right?
Yep, Revelation 19:14. And then he destroys the Antichrist with the breath of his mouth and the brightness of his appearing, the sword from his mouth, right? So, anyways, just as long as we're here and we're not going to get to the next verse, anyways,
Right.
might as well
I
spend
always-
a few.
I
minutes
always like
and-
that. I just a real quick thought. They always talk about this Battle of Armageddon. We're so used to these long drawn out wars, and when you read that, it's kind of like the Battle of Armageddon. Jesus breathed on him; it was over.
Well, yes, I would 100% go along with that. What I would say though is that what we call the Battle of Armageddon is that moment is just like that fast,
Yes,
and
it's
it's done. But leading up to that is what I refer to as the War of Armageddon. So
there's 2
that
different
actually,
things there.
Yeah, that actually
'Cause,
transpires over the course of
the
weeks
blood
or
is so
months.
deep;
Yeah.
it's up to the bridle of the
Right.
horse.
Yeah, in the Kidron
Right.
Valley.
Yeah, in the Kidron Valley, exactly.
Yeah, the actual
So,
war. Yeah.
yeah.
But the
And-
battle when he comes back, it's done.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're fighting. The United States invades northern Israel. We set up shop in the plains of Megiddo up in the north. Right, been there, and then we work our way down to Jerusalem to confront the Antichrist. But in the midst of us fighting against the Antichrist and his forces, and like Bill, you just said, blood up to the bridle of the horses. It's just so violent. That's when Jesus shows up.
Right.
It's like, look, the second he's there, it's over.
done.
Man.
It's over.
It's over.
Yeah, Antichrist, false prophet, go in the lake of fire, and it's a done deal. So, anyways,
Yep. And speaking of done deals, we are going to go to a song, and when we come back, your chance to win.
So get ready to dial because we're going to do. Should we do caller number 7 like we always do?
We'll
okay.
do that here in just about 3.5 minutes.
Everyone, get ready to dial your phones.
1-800-721-9313 is the number to dial. That phone number for your chance to win right now: 800-721-9313. 1-800-721-9313. We've got Israel in these final days, part 1, 5-disc set from your 2014 trip to Israel, Pastor Ryan. Give us a little glimpse into what I know. They got the Western Wall, even Temple Institute. Where all did you go for this?
So that was, again, that was my 2014 trip, and I went with a good friend from church, Vernon Bridges. And by the way, everybody, please start dialing your phones because we're going to take caller number 7.
Yeah.
Let's get that ball rolling. Please, just one person dial your phone, get the phone, and then they'll be ringing out the hooks, right?
Right.
So this DVD set that we're giving away, along with part 1 and part 2 of my book series, These Final Days, the DVD set just includes the first half of the trip, and the rest of the videos I actually put on my YouTube channel. So if you go to thesefinaldays.org, you can click over to YouTube. There's our first caller. Should we take the caller?
Yes.
Yeah, let's take them.
Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network. Who's this?
Hi, this is
Yay!
Thank
All
you,
right.
Jan.
Thank you.
And
We owe you.
You're welcome.
we now have 2 other lights lit up as well, so thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen.
Jan, do it
You're
again.
caller
in 2
1.
weeks,
Try
okay?
again, okay?
Yeah, try again, please.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
God bless.
Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Rick. I'm calling from
Hey,
Laughlin,
Rick.
and I'm filling in a space because I was requested to do so. But I also
Thank you,
wanted to
Rick.
thank you for a wonderful lesson this morning. It was very, very informative and helpful.
Thank you.
As always.
Well, thank you, Rick.
I
means-
appreciate you guys and love you too. Now on to 3.
All right.
All right.
Will do.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
God bless.
Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Shuttle, Arizona.
Ah,
My name's Carl.
hey,
All right, Carl,
thank you.
you're caller number 3. Hang up and try again, okay?
Yeah, you still have a chance. We're looking for number 7.
All right, we'll give it another shot.
Thank you.
All right,
Please.
thanks.
God bless.
Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network. Who's this and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Stafford. It's Christiana.
Well, you are caller number 4, so try again.
Yeah, you still have a chance. You
Sure
try again.
will.
All right,
Okay,
thanks.
bless.
God bless.
Thank you.
Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Gary Cooper, Joshua Tree, California.
Joshua Tree,
Joshua,
beautiful city.
Love that place, yeah.
Well, you're caller 5, and try again next time, okay?
All right, thank
All
you.
right,
Thank
thanks.
you.
God bless. Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Rick calling from Laughlin. I'm number
We've heard of you.
6.
Yep.
Filling
Yes.
in the space because I was told to call in and fill in the space.
You're awesome, Rick.
Well,
We
you
love
filled in
man.
Now
2
you
spaces.
can go on to the winner.
There
Yep.
you go.
We got
And
it.
you
All
helped.
right.
Thanks, brother.
God bless, man.
God bless. Bye-bye.
That's funny.
Good morning, your Celebration Radio Network. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Jan again from Havasu.
Oh,
Jan! You did it.
Yay.
You're caller 7.
Oh my God!
Yeah, very good. Thank you for trying again.
You're gonna love these books. They're really good, and the DVD is awesome. I had hours and hours of watching. It's almost like you were there.
A lot of content.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I've been listening to the people be good. So,
All right. Well, I'm going to put you on hold. We'll get some info from you, okay?
thank you.
You're
Okay,
very
God bless,
welcome.
Jan.
All right, hold on.
Thanks for calling.
And we still have lines ringing. So,
All right.
It
Yeah.
just takes one person to call.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
it.
That's
And what
Jan
wasn't that her?
Yeah, it was.
Jan's
She
the one
kicked
Yeah.
it off.
So she
Jan.
deserved it. She
Yeah,
got the ball
she-
rolling.
she
and
got it going.
Rick called twice, so he deserved it. He already has my book, so
Yeah.
yeah. And isn't Rick the one who found
He
my book?
is.
I love this story.
a library.
Laughlin Public Library for like 25 cents or something. Yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah, how cool is that?
but hey, anyone who is interested in my books, again, part 1 and part 2, I'm working on part 3 right now, getting very, very close, coming soon, TM. Again, go to thesefinaldays.org and you can click over to Amazon and you know, my books are 99 cents on Kindle. So if you have Kindle, it's pretty inexpensive. So anyways,
Yeah. Well, thank you
right.
guys.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank you,
you
Bill.
both
Thank you.
very
Thank
much.
you for having us.
yeah,
Thank you.
love being here with you guys. And
Yeah.
again, thank you to Farron and Debbie for allowing us to do this show every other week. And as always, we always say, please support your Celebration Radio Network.
Yes.
Bill, one more time, how can people make donations to the station? Because it's all listener supported.
Yeah, it
we
is.
don't take advertising
And,
dollars. Right?
You can go to sharethelightnow.com, give online, or you can call us at 800-721-9313. You could also, if you would like to send a check, you can mail that to P.O. Box 747, Lake Havasu City, Arizona, 86405. Thanks
All
again,
right.
guys.
Thank you.
Have a very
Thank you,
blessed
John.
day.
You guys are
Thank you.
the 2
That's
smartest
right.
guys I
Thanks,
know. I love you guys. Seriously.
We love you too,
Such
man.
a blessing to be in this ministry with both of you.
Yeah, same here.
Yes,
We're
thank you, Lord.
privileged as
Yes.
well. So thank you, guys.
All right.
It is 10 minutes after the hour on your Celebration Radio Network. My name is Bill. The phone number 800-721-9313 to get in that prayer request. That's 800-721-9313 on your Celebration Radio Network. On your Celebration Radio Network, we're just about to 28 minutes after the hour. Wanted to read again Romans 6:23. I'm sure most of us, if not all of us that are listening right now, know this verse pretty much by heart. It says, "For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord." And that is what it's all about. That gift that we can receive and be guaranteed a forever with Him. So thanks again for allowing me to be part of your morning. And I know that that God is working in our lives. And so, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this new morning you've given us, the privilege it is to begin it with you each and every day. We never want to take for granted. So as today continues to unfold, give us your wisdom, Lord, to handle every situation we may encounter. And let our speech be seasoned with grace and our thoughts pleasing to you. We're so grateful to know that regardless of where this day takes us, you're there in the midst. And there's no shortage of good things in your presence. I'm reminded of Dan, who is in a hospital room. Lord, Ray and the family and all that has happened, Lord, I know that you're going to give them comfort and strength and peace. Also for all those that are suffering and our country as well. Your word tells us in so many places that we should fear not. And we need to remember that you are ultimately in control, no matter who's in the White House or at the Capitol in our own state or even the mayor of our city. You're the one that is in control. So help us to keep that mindset, the things that are above, to be heavenly and kingdomly minded, so that your light would shine through our lives into this dark world. For it's only going to get darker. Help us to remember. And in the precious name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Well, Focus on the Family is coming up next on your Celebration Radio Network. Have a very safe and blessed day today. Enjoy your weekend.